Number 9, 1960 to 1967 Renault Dauphine. Starting our list is the Renault Dauphine, a French economy car that became a cautionary tale about importing European vehicles to American roads. The Dauphine was actually a massive success in Europe, selling over 2 million units, but when it crossed the Atlantic to the United States, everything went wrong. Under the rear deck sat an 845 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine, producing just 32 horsepower. Road and Track magazine recorded a 0 to 60 time of 32 seconds. That's not a misprint. The car measured 155 inches long with an 89-inch wheelbase and weighed approximately 1,400 pounds. American drivers found the Dauphine dangerously underpowered for highway driving and merging into traffic. Performance wasn't its only problem. The Dauphine suffered from catastrophic rust issues, with steel so poor that these cars could rust through in just a few years. The lightweight construction made it feel fragile, and drivers complained about build quality issues, reliability problems, and a carburetor prone to icing. Number 8, 1960 to 1963 Chevrolet Corvair. The Chevrolet Corvair was General Motors' ambitious attempt to create an American rear-engine economy car that could compete with the Volkswagen Beetle, but it became synonymous with automotive controversy. The Corvair measured approximately 180 inches long with a 108-inch wheelbase and featured an air-cooled flat-six engine, initially displacing 140 cubic inches and producing 80 horsepower. The engineering was innovative. Independent suspension at all four corners, an air-cooled aluminum engine, and a low center of gravity, but Chevrolet's cost-cutting created serious safety problems. The first-generation Corvair featured a swing-axle rear suspension with 60 to 63% of the car's weight over the rear wheels, making it prone to severe oversteer, where the rear end could tuck under and cause the car to spin out of control. Ralph Nader's 1965 book, Unsafe at Any Speed, made the Corvair a symbol of corporate negligence, and GM faced over 100 lawsuits related to Corvair accidents. The car also required different tire pressures front and rear, 15 psi in front and 26 psi in the rear, which was foreign to American drivers and often ignored by gas station attendants, making the handling even more dangerous. Number 7, 1961 to 1968 Amphicar Model 770. For a vehicle that truly represents ambition over execution, we present the Amphicar Model 770, a car that promised to revolutionize transportation by combining an automobile and a boat into one vehicle. Designed by Hans Trippel and manufactured in West Germany, the Amphicar featured an 1,147 cubic centimeter Triumph Herald inline-4 engine, producing 43 horsepower. It measured approximately 157 inches long and weighed over 2,400 pounds, significantly heavier than most compact cars due to heavy-duty steel construction needed for the watertight hull, sealed axle shafts, twin propellers, and a bilge pump. The marketing claimed it could achieve 7 knots in water and 70 miles per hour on land. But the critical flaw was that the Amphicar wasn't particularly watertight. Its flotation depended entirely on whether the bilge pump could keep up with water leakage. On land, performance was terrible, with 0 to 60 taking over 21 seconds, and the narrow tires with high ground clearance resulted in poor handling. After each water outing, owners had to grease 13 different points, one requiring removal of the rear seat.
Number 6, 1963-1976 Hillman Imp. The Hillman Imp had everything going for it on paper: an innovative all-aluminum 875 cubic centimeter overhead cam engine derived from a Coventry Climax racing unit, independent suspension, a practical rear engine layout with a clever opening rear window, and an affordable price. This British economy car measured approximately 144 inches long and produced 37 horsepower, with the engine featuring an unusual 45-degree cant to lower the center of gravity. Designed by Mike Parks, who later became a Formula One driver, the Imp should have been successful. but it was rushed into production at the brand new Linwood plant in Scotland before development was complete, resulting in disaster. Water pumps failed regularly, gearboxes broke, water leaked into the cabin, and the cooling system couldn't keep the rear-mounted engine from overheating. Early models suffered from defective automatic chokes, pneumatic throttle linkages that failed regularly, and front kingpins with plastic bearings that wore out quickly. The double-scanned bodywork was prone to rust everywhere, especially along the front boot lid and door bottoms. First-year sales reached about 33,000 units and climbed to 50,142 in 1964, but dropped to 42,663 in 1965 as reliability problems destroyed the car's reputation. Number 5. 1965 to 1967 AMC Rambler Marlin. American Motors Corporation introduced the Rambler Marlin in 1965 as their entry into the personal luxury fastback market, aiming to compete with the Plymouth Barracuda and Ford Mustang, but it missed the mark by a considerable margin. The fundamental problem was platform selection. AMC built the Marlin on the mid-size Rambler Classic chassis designed for family sedans, not sporty coupes. The result was awkward and disproportionate, with the fastback roof design sitting atop a body that was simply too large. The Marlin stretched 195 inches long with a 112-inch wheelbase and weighed approximately 3,618 pounds. Engine options included a base 232 cubic inch inline-six producing 155 horsepower, a 287 cubic inch V8 with 198 horsepower, and top-tier 327 cubic inch V8 engines delivering up to 270 horsepower. Even AMC's own designer, Bob Nixon, later called it one of our worst production cars. The narrow trunk lid opening made loading cargo difficult, and the raised roofline over the rear seats, insisted upon by tall AMC president Roy Abernethy, ruined the fastback's proportions completely. Number 4. 1960 Plymouth Fury. The 1960 Plymouth Fury represented a stark departure from the previous generation, with Chrysler's designers creating a car that prioritized radical styling over practical considerations. The Fury featured dramatic overhangs that extended from front to rear, intended to look futuristic but creating significant problems. Visibility was severely compromised. Drivers couldn't see where the car's extremities ended, making parking and maneuvering challenging. Many owners reported scraping or damaging their Furies simply because they couldn't judge where the car ended. Plymouth also incorporated a severely sloped roofline that drastically reduced rear seat headroom, making the back uncomfortable for adult passengers. The Fury measured over 213 inches long with a 112-inch wheelbase and weighed approximately 3,700 pounds. While the mechanical components were generally reliable, the impractical body design meant form had completely overtaken function. This was when Chrysler's forward-look styling philosophy reached its most extreme, and the 1960 Fury exemplified the problems when designers ignored daily use realities. The front end featured unusual stacked headlights and a distinctive grille that looked dated almost immediately.
Number 3. 1964-1967 Vauxhall Victor FC. The Vauxhall Victor FC, marketed with 101 improvements over the previous model, promised to be a modern family car for the mid-1960s, but became infamous for one of the automotive industry's worst rust problems of the decade. This British family car measured approximately 172 inches long with a 100-inch wheelbase and featured a 1.6-liter inline-4 producing 66 horsepower. The Victor FC introduced curved side window glass for greater width and innovative styling elements, representing genuine progress on paper, but the reality was catastrophic. It suffered from rust problems so severe that it earned Vauxhall a reputation for corrosion lasting years. The inner and outer front wings rusted away within just 2 or 3 years. Door seals leaked, allowing water into the cabin, and the sills and rear wheel arches dissolved into rust. The wraparound windscreen created water traps, contributing to pillar corrosion, with the dogleg windscreen pillars being particularly vulnerable. Number 2. 1960 Ford Falcon. The Ford Falcon was actually a sales success, selling over 435,000 units in its first year, but success in the showroom didn't mean success on the road. This compact measured 181 inches long with a 109.5-inch wheelbase and weighed approximately 2,380 pounds, with a 144 cubic inch inline six producing just 90 horsepower and 138 pound-feet of torque. The real problem was Ford's obsession with fuel economy over drivability. They specified a 3.10 rear axle ratio that maximized highway fuel consumption but made the car nearly impossible to drive effectively. The gap between second and third gear in the 3-speed manual was enormous, creating a situation where the engine was either over-revved in second or lugging badly in third. Motor Life recorded a 0 to 60 time of 17.3 seconds, but real-world performance felt much slower. The steering required 4.6 turns lock to lock, making it slow and ponderous, while the ride was firm and shook badly on rough surfaces. The interior materials were cheap and utilitarian, even by 1960s economy car standards. Number 1. 1960 to 1964 Studebaker Lark. Taking the top spot as the worst car of the 1960s is the 1960 to 1964 Studebaker Lark, representing what happens when financial desperation destroys quality control and engineering standards. Initially launched in 1959 as Studebaker's last hope for survival, the early 1960s version suffered catastrophically as the company's financial situation deteriorated. As Studebaker's resources dwindled, build quality collapsed. Cars left the factory with misaligned body panels, poor paint application, and loose interior components. Research and development budgets were slashed, leaving the Lark with increasingly outdated engineering compared to rivals from the Big Three. Dealers reported receiving vehicles requiring extensive preparation work before sale, undermining customer confidence. Mechanical reliability became increasingly problematic with cost-cutting. Electrical systems were particularly troublesome, with shorts and failures becoming common, while base engines were grossly underpowered and suffered from premature wear. The automatic transmission shifted harshly and required frequent adjustments, with many failing prematurely. Parts availability became a serious concern as Studebaker's dealer network shrank, making potential buyers hesitant despite competitive pricing. Rust appeared quickly in lower body panels and wheel wells.